Ambassador Sarah Chen sat quietly in the great council chamber of Nexus Prime. Around her, 47 alien species argued loudly about humanity's future in the galaxy. Their voices echoed off the massive dome ceiling like angry thunder. Sarah had been Earth's ambassador for 15 years. She had seen many meetings like this, but today felt different. Today felt final. Order, order. Council Leader Zix banged his crystal hammer on the podium. The tall, blue-skinned alien's 4 eyes glowed with anger. We are here to decide humanity's fate once and for all. The chamber fell silent. Sarah could feel hundreds of alien eyes staring at her. She was the only human in the room, full of creatures who seemed to hate her people. For 50 years, Zix continued, humans have been nothing but trouble in our galaxy. They refuse to follow our laws. They question our decisions. They are too emotional and too stubborn. Murmurs of agreement came from around the chamber. General Krex of the Zephyrian Empire stood up. His warrior race was known for their strength and pride. Humans start fights everywhere they go. They cannot control their anger. They are too primitive, added scientist Vela of the Axtari, her bird-like features twisted with disgust. Their technology is thousands of years behind ours. What can they possibly offer our advanced civilizations? Sarah listened to each accusation calmly. She had heard them all before. Humans take jobs from our people, shouted Mining Chief Gorok. They work for less money and make our workers look bad. They ask too many questions, said High Priest Nyx. They do not respect our ancient wisdom. More aliens joined in. Each had complaints about humans. Sarah wrote notes on her electronic pad, but her heart was heavy. Council Leader Zix raised his hands for silence. The evidence is clear. Humanity has been given many chances to prove their worth. They have failed every time. Sarah looked around the chamber. Not one alien spoke in defense of humanity. Not one. However, Zix continued, we are a fair council. We will give Ambassador Chen one final chance to speak for her people. Sarah stood slowly. The chamber became completely quiet. She walked to the center of the room where a single spotlight shined down on her. Honored Council, Sarah began in a clear voice, I have listened to your concerns about humanity. You say we are primitive. You say we are troublesome. You say we offer nothing of value. She paused and looked directly at Council Leader Zix. You have made your decision about us long ago. Nothing I say today will change your minds. Whispers spread through the chamber. The aliens expected Sarah to beg or argue. Instead, she seemed strangely calm. But I want you to remember this moment, Sarah continued. I want you to remember that I tried to warn you. Warn us? Zix laughed. What could humans possibly warn us about? Sarah smiled sadly. You think you know what humans do in this galaxy. You see us as workers and soldiers. You see us as problems to be solved. She activated her electronic pad. Images appeared on the chamber's main screen. These are the current locations of all human personnel in the galaxy, Sarah said. 50 million humans working on 12,000 planets and space stations. The aliens looked at the map with boredom. They already knew humans were scattered everywhere. You call us primitive, Sarah said, but humans maintain the power grids on 600 worlds. You call us troublesome, but humans run the medical centers that save millions of alien lives every year. The map zoomed in to show specific locations. Sarah's voice grew stronger. Human engineers keep your mining equipment working. Human doctors cure diseases your own species cannot treat. Human farmers feed populations on planets where nothing should grow. Human teachers educate alien children in schools across the galaxy. General Krex waved his hand dismissively. Anyone can do those jobs. They are simple work. Are they? Sarah asked. When was the last time you tried to fix a broken fusion reactor? When did you last perform surgery on a dying patient? When did you last grow food on a dead planet? The chamber was quiet now. Some aliens looked uncomfortable. For 50 years, Sarah said, humans have done the jobs that others thought were beneath them. We took the difficult assignments. We worked in dangerous places. We helped anyone who needed it, even when they hated us. Sarah walked back toward her seat but stopped and turned around one final time. Council Leader Zix, you asked what humans could warn you about. Her voice was soft, but carried clearly through the silent chamber. We warn you that you are about to learn the difference between having power and having worth. She sat down and closed her electronic pad. Council Leader Zix looked confused by Sarah's words, but he quickly called for the vote. All in favor of expelling humanity from galactic territory? 46 hands, claws, and tentacles rose into the air. Only Sarah's hand remained down. The motion passes, Zix declared. Humanity has 7 days to leave all galactic space. Sarah stood and began packing her files. As she did, she quietly activated a small device on her wrist. Recall protocol initiated, she whispered. None of the celebrating aliens heard her. But across the galaxy, every human received the same message. Come home. It's time to go. 3 days had passed since the Galactic Council voted to expel humanity. Across the galaxy, something strange was happening. Human workers everywhere were quietly packing their belongings and leaving their jobs. On the mining planet Zerion 4, Foreman Gorok watched in confusion as the human engineers shut down their equipment and walked toward their transport ships. Where are you going? Gorok demanded. The mines cannot run without you. Chief Engineer Mike Rodriguez looked at the alien foreman with tired eyes. The Council has spoken. Humans are no longer welcome in galactic space, but you cannot leave now. The deep core mining equipment needs daily maintenance. Mike shrugged. Find someone else to do it. The Council said anyone can do our jobs. Gorok watched helplessly as the transport ship carried away the only beings who understood the complex mining machinery. He had always treated the human workers badly, calling them inferior. Now they were gone, and he had no idea how to operate the mines. On Nexus Prime Station, Dr. Elizabeth Harper was closing down the main medical center. She had worked there for 12 years, saving alien lives every day. Now she was packing her surgical equipment into storage boxes. Nurse Coordinator Vix, a tall insect-like alien, buzzed nervously around her. Dr. Harper, you cannot leave. We have 300 patients in critical care. I trained your medical staff for years, Dr. Harper replied calmly. They should be able to handle things now. But you are the only one who knows how to operate the life support machines. Dr. Harper paused in her packing. The Council voted that humans have nothing valuable to offer. Surely your advanced alien medicine doesn't need primitive human help. Vix's compound eyes showed panic. That was just politics. The patients will die without you. I'm sorry, Dr. Harper said sadly. The decision has been made. In the agricultural sector of planet Verdania, Farmer John Chen was shutting down the hydroponic farms that fed 6 billion aliens across the system. The alien officials who came to stop him found him uploading data files into his personal computer. What are you doing with our farming data? Demanded Agricultural Minister Clax. This isn't your data, John replied. These are the seed modifications, soil treatment formulas, and growth techniques that I developed over 20 years. I'm taking them with me. Minister Clax's green skin turned pale. But without those techniques, our crops will fail. You have your own agricultural experts, John said. Use them. Our experts study theory. You actually make things grow. John picked up his equipment case. Well, now you'll have to learn the practical side too. Similar scenes were happening across the galaxy. Human teachers were leaving alien schools. Human mechanics were abandoning repair stations. Human pilots were grounding their rescue ships. On the luxury planet of Celestia, wealthy aliens were panicking as their human servants departed. The aliens had no idea how to maintain their own homes, prepare their own food, or operate their own vehicles. You can't leave us, screamed Lady Zara, a rich Vorthan noble. Who will take care of our estate? The same people who took care of it before humans arrived, said Maria Santos, the head groundskeeper. Oh wait, that was nobody. You hired humans because we were the only ones willing to do the work. On the space station Harmony base, traffic control was shutting down. Human controllers had managed the complex flight patterns of thousands of ships every day. Now the aliens were discovering that their own people couldn't handle the job. The shipping lanes are backing up, shouted Traffic Chief yelled. Ships are crashing into each other. Where are the humans who usually manage this? Asked his assistant. Gone. All gone. The most shocking discovery came from the Zephyrian military. General Krex, who had complained loudest about humans in the council, found that his mighty war fleet couldn't even leave port. What do you mean the engines won't start? Krex roared at his mechanics. Sir, the humans always handled engine maintenance. We don't know how to repair the fusion cores. Find someone who does. Sir, we tried. No one in our military knows how to fix these systems. The humans never wrote down their procedures. General Kreck stared at his useless warships. The most feared military force in the galaxy was grounded because they had no human mechanics. News reports began flooding the galactic networks. Every major system was reporting the same problem, critical failures wherever humans had worked. On Nexus Prime, Council Leader Zix watched the news reports with growing alarm. Each story was worse than the last. Sir, his assistant reported, we're receiving emergency calls from across the galaxy. Mining operations shut down, medical centers closing, food production stopping, transportation systems failing. How is this possible? Zix demanded. The humans have only been gone for 3 days. Sir, it appears that humans were more essential than we realized. Zix felt a cold fear creeping into his heart. He had 4 hearts and all of them were beating fast now. Get me Ambassador Chen immediately. His assistant looked uncomfortable. Sir, we've been trying to contact her for 2 days. Her communication device is turned off. Find her! Sir, we've checked her quarters. She's gone. All the humans on Nexus Prime left yesterday. Zix rushed to the window and looked out at the station's docking bays. For the first time, he noticed that they were much emptier than usual. The human ships were gone. Sir, his assistant said nervously, there's something else. The station's power grid is having problems. The human engineering team that maintained it is gone. As if responding to his words, the lights in Zix's office flickered and went out. In the darkness, Zix finally began to understand Sarah Chen's warning. But it was too late. 1 week after humanity's departure, the galaxy was falling apart. Council Leader Zix sat in his dark office on Nexus Prime, reading emergency reports by the light of a handheld lamp. The station's main power had failed 3 days ago. The backup generators were running out of fuel and nobody knew how to refuel them. Sir, his assistant Vel entered the room carrying another stack of urgent messages. More bad news from across the galaxy. Zix rubbed his tired eyes with all 4 hands. Tell me. The Goron Empire's biggest mining planet, Zarian 4, has gone completely dark. Their fusion reactors shut down yesterday. What happened? Without human engineers to maintain them, the reactors started overheating. The alien workers tried to fix them, but they made it worse. Now the entire planet has no power. Zix felt sick. Zarian 4 produced the metal that built starships for half the galaxy. There's more, sir, Vel continued. The Vothan homeworld is requesting immediate evacuation assistance. Their climate control systems are failing. Climate control? But the Vorthans have managed their own planet for thousands of years. Yes, sir. But they've been using human-designed atmospheric processors for the last 50 years. Without human technicians to maintain them, their atmosphere is becoming toxic. Zix stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see the chaos in the station's docking bays. Ships were crashing into each other because the traffic control systems weren't working properly. Emergency lights flashed everywhere. What about medical emergencies? Zix asked. Vel's face darkened. Sir, the death toll is rising rapidly. The main hospital on Andros Prime closed yesterday. Dr. Harper was the only one who knew how to operate their surgical machines. Surely their own doctors can learn. They're trying, sir, but it's too late for most patients. The alien doctors spent their careers studying theory. They never learned practical procedures because humans always handled that. A loud crash echoed through the station. Zix looked out to see another ship collision in the docking bay. Sir, we need to call an emergency council meeting, Vel suggested. With what power? Zix asked bitterly. The council chamber's lights are out too. But they managed to gather the council members in the dimly lit chamber. Representatives from 47 species sat around the great table, looking frightened and angry. General Kreck spoke first. His proud voice was now shaky with worry. My entire fleet is grounded. Thousands of warships useless. My mechanics don't know how to repair the engines that humans maintained. At least your people aren't starving, interrupted Agricultural Minister Klax of Verdania. Our food production has dropped by 80%. Human farmers didn't just grow our crops, they created the soil, designed the irrigation and developed the seeds. Without them, nothing grows. Scientist Vela of the Axtari flapped her wings nervously. Our research stations are shutting down. We always mocked human technology as primitive, but they built and maintained all our laboratory equipment. Our greatest scientific minds can't even turn on their own machines. My people are dying, cried Health Minister Knox from the Centauri system. Human doctors and nurses ran 90% of our hospitals. We have medical knowledge, but no one who can actually use it. Trading Master Jex looked embarrassed as he spoke. The interstellar economy is collapsing. Human traders carried 60% of all cargo between planets. Human mechanics maintained the shipping computers. Human pilots flew the dangerous routes that others wouldn't take. The trade networks are broken. Each council member had a similar story. The Korani couldn't maintain their underwater cities without human engineers. The Solari couldn't operate their solar power plants without human technicians. The Nebulans couldn't navigate through dangerous space clouds without human pilots. How did this happen? Zix asked desperately. How did we become so dependent on humans without realizing it? High Priest Nyx answered quietly. Because we were proud. We thought the important work was making laws and giving orders. We never noticed who was actually keeping our civilization running. The humans did every job we considered beneath us, added Mining Chief Gorok. We called it unskilled labor. But it required knowledge and experience that we never bothered to learn. Council Leader Zix felt the weight of his terrible mistake. We thought humans were primitive because they worked with their hands instead of just their minds. We never understood that civilization needs both. Sir, Vel interrupted from the chamber doorway. Urgent message from the Outer Rim. A cargo ship full of Zephyrian colonists is sending a distress call. Their life support is failing and they're dying in space. General Krex jumped up. Send rescue ships immediately. Sir, our rescue ships can't launch. The human mechanics who maintained them are gone. Then send engineers to fix their life support remotely. Sir, the only engineers who knew how to repair those systems were humans. The chamber fell silent. Somewhere in space, hundreds of aliens were dying, and the mighty Galactic Council could do nothing to save them. There must be something we can do, Zix shouted. There is, said a quiet voice from the back of the chamber. Everyone turned. An old alien named Trix, who rarely spoke in council meetings, stood up slowly. We could ask the humans to come back, Trix said. Never, General Krex roared. We will not beg primitives for help. Then we will all die, Trix replied simply. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Some aliens agreed with Trix. Others, like General Krex, refused to admit they needed human help. But as they argued, the lights in the chamber flickered and went out completely. In the darkness, Zix realized that their pride had doomed them all. The question now was, would the humans even answer if they called for help? 2 weeks had passed since humanity left the galaxy. What started as equipment failures had become a complete collapse of alien civilization. Council Leader Zix stood in the emergency command center of Nexus Prime. The main council chamber was no longer usable. Its life support systems had failed completely. Now the surviving council members worked by candlelight in a small maintenance room. Status report, Zix said wearily to his assistant Vel. Sir, it's worse than yesterday, Vel replied, reading from a handwritten list. The Vorthan homeworld has been evacuated. Their atmosphere became too toxic to breathe. 3 billion Vorthans are now refugees. Zix closed his 4 eyes in pain. Where are they staying? Anywhere that still has life support. But sir, most space stations are failing too. Without human engineers, we can't maintain the air recycling systems. What about the military situation? General Krex spoke up from a corner of the room. The once proud warrior looked broken and defeated. My entire fleet is dead in space. 40,000 warships completely useless. We tried to train our own mechanics, but it takes years to learn what the humans knew. Sir, Vel continued, the Axtari civilization is requesting emergency aid. Their homeworld's power grid collapsed yesterday. They're facing a complete social breakdown. How many alien lives have we lost? Zix asked quietly. Casualties are approaching 50 million, sir, and rising every day. The number hit Zix like a physical blow. 50 million beings dead because the council had expelled the very people who kept them alive. Agricultural Minister Klax entered the room, his green skin pale with hunger. The food crisis is getting worse. Starvation is spreading across 12 systems. The human farmers didn't just grow food, they created entire ecosystems. Without them, the planets are becoming barren wastelands. What about the Centauri medical crisis? Zix asked. Part 4. The Terrible Truth. 2 weeks had passed since humanity left the galaxy. What started as equipment failures had become a complete collapse of alien civilization. Council leader Zix stood in the emergency command center of Nexus Prime. The main council chamber was no longer usable. Its life support systems had failed completely. Now the surviving council members worked by candlelight in a small maintenance room. Status report, Zix said wearily to his assistant Vel. Sir, it's worse than yesterday, Vel replied, reading from a handwritten list. The Vorthan homeworld has been evacuated. Their atmosphere became too toxic to breathe. 3 billion Vorthans are now refugees. Zix closed his 4 eyes in pain. Where are they staying? Anywhere that still has life support. But sir, most space stations are failing too. Without human engineers, we can't maintain the air recycling systems. What about the military situation? General Kreck spoke up from a corner of the room. The once proud warrior looked broken and defeated. My entire fleet is dead in space. 40,000 warships completely useless. We tried to train our own mechanics, but it takes years to learn what the humans knew. Sir, Vel continued, the Axtari civilization is requesting emergency aid. Their homeworld's power grid collapsed yesterday. They're facing a complete social breakdown. How many alien lives have we lost? Zix asked quietly. Casualties are approaching 50 million, sir, and rising every day. The number hit Zix like a physical blow. 50 million beings dead, because the council had expelled the very people who kept them alive. Agricultural Minister Klax entered the room, his green skin pale with hunger. The food crisis is getting worse. Starvation is spreading across 12 systems. The human farmers didn't just grow food, they created entire ecosystems. Without them, the planets are becoming barren wastelands. What about the Centauri medical crisis? Zix asked. Health Minister Knox looked up from his corner. We lost another hospital yesterday. The surgical machines are too complex for our doctors to operate. We have all the medical knowledge in the galaxy, but no one who can actually save patients. Sir, Vel said carefully, we've been monitoring human communication channels. They're completely silent. It's like humanity has vanished from the universe. Zix walked to the small window and looked out at the dying space station. Ships floated dead in space, their crews long evacuated. The once mighty Nexus Prime looked like a graveyard. I need to tell you all something, Zix said slowly. Something I discovered in the old council records. The room became quiet. Everyone looked at their leader. 50 years ago, when humans first joined our galactic community, they offered to share their technology with us. They wanted to teach our people how to maintain our own systems. General Krex looked up. What happened to that offer? We refused it, Zix admitted. We said human technology was too primitive for our advanced minds to study. We told them to just do the work themselves while we focused on more important things. The silence in the room was heavy with shame. The humans tried to warn us about this, Zix continued. For years they said we were becoming too dependent on their services. They offered to train our people many times. Each time we laughed and called them paranoid. Why didn't they force us to learn? Asked scientist Vela. Because they're not like us, Zix realized. They didn't want power over other species. They just wanted to help. When we rejected their teaching, they quietly continued doing the work themselves. Trading Master Jex spoke bitterly. So we created our own doom. We had 50 years to learn from them, and we wasted every day. Sir, Vel interrupted urgently, we're receiving a priority distress call from the outer colonies. The last evacuation ship from Vorthan Prime is losing life support. 5,000 refugees will die within hours. Send rescue ships, Zix ordered. Sir, we have no working rescue ships. The human pilots who operated them are gone. Then send technical support to help them repair their systems. Sir, the only technicians who understood those life support systems were human. Zix felt his heart breaking. 5,000 innocent beings were about to die, and the mighty Galactic Council could only watch helplessly. There must be something we can do, he cried. There is, said a familiar voice from the doorway. Everyone turned to see old Trick standing in the entrance. The ancient alien looked even more tired than before. We can try to contact Ambassador Chen, Trick said. We can ask humanity for help. They'll never answer, General Kreck said bitterly. Why would they help the people who expelled them? Because they're human, Trix replied. Helping others is what they do, even when those others treat them badly. But how do we find them? Vel asked. They've gone completely silent. I still have Ambassador Chen's personal communication code, Trix admitted. I've been too ashamed to use it. Council Leader Zix looked around the room at his fellow council members. These beings had once ruled the galaxy with pride and arrogance. Now they huddled in a maintenance room, surrounded by the ruins of their civilization. Do it, Zix said quietly. Contact Ambassador Chen. Trix activated his communication device. The room held its breath as he entered Sarah Chen's personal code. The device beeped softly. Then, after what felt like forever, a voice answered. This is Ambassador Chen. Zix felt a mixture of relief and terror. The humans had answered. Now came the hardest part. He would have to beg the people he had called worthless to save the galaxy they had abandoned. Ambassador Chen, Zix said, his voice shaking. We need to talk. Ambassador Chen, Council Leader Zix said into the communication device. His voice was shaking with desperation. We need to talk. There was a long pause. When Sarah Chen finally spoke, her voice was calm but distant. Council Leader Zix, I'm surprised to hear from you. Didn't your council vote that humanity had nothing valuable to offer the galaxy? Zix felt shame burning in his 4 hearts. Ambassador, please. The galaxy is dying. 50 million beings are dead. Entire civilizations are collapsing. I know, Sarah replied simply. We've been monitoring the galactic news broadcasts. Then you know we need help. Please return to your positions. We'll pay you anything. Give you any technology. Any status you want. Another long pause. Zix could hear his own breathing in the silence. Council Leader, Sarah said finally. Where are you calling from? Zix looked around the tiny maintenance room lit by candles. The emergency command center on Nexus Prime. I see. And where is the Great Council Chamber? The one where you voted us out? It has no power. The life support failed. Who maintained the life support systems? Zix closed his eyes. Humans did. And now that we're gone, no one knows how to fix them. Sarah's voice remained steady. Zix, I want you to understand something. This conversation is being broadcast live to every human ship in our fleet. They're all listening to what you have to say. Zix felt a chill of fear. 50 million humans were hearing this conversation. The people his council had called worthless and expelled from their homes. Ambassador, I know we made mistakes. Mistakes? Sarah's voice became sharp for the first time. Zix, let me read you something. These are the exact words you spoke in the council chamber 3 weeks ago. Zix heard the sound of paper rustling. Humans are primitive, violent, and worthless. They cause nothing but problems. They are too emotional and too stubborn to follow proper galactic law. Each word hit Zix like a physical blow. He remembered saying them with such confidence and pride. You also said, Sarah continued, what can primitive humans possibly offer our advanced civilizations? Sarah, please, you laughed when I warned you. You all laughed. Do you remember what you said when I told you that you would regret your decision? Part 5. The Price of Arrogance. Ambassador Chen, Council Leader Zix said into the communication device. His voice was shaking with desperation. We need to talk. There was a long pause. When Sarah Chen finally spoke, her voice was calm but distant. Council Leader Zix, I'm surprised to hear from you. Didn't your council vote that humanity had nothing valuable to offer the galaxy? Zix felt shame burning in his 4 hearts. Ambassador, please. The galaxy is dying. 50 million beings are dead. Entire civilizations are collapsing. I know, Sarah replied simply. We've been monitoring the galactic news broadcasts. Then you know we need help. Please return to your positions. We'll pay you anything. Give you any technology. Any status you want. Another long pause. Zix could hear his own breathing in the silence. Council Leader, Sarah said finally, where are you calling from? Zix looked around the tiny maintenance room lit by candles. The emergency command center on Nexus Prime. I see. And where is the Great Council Chamber? The one where you voted us out? It has no power. The life support failed. Who maintained the life support systems? Zix closed his eyes. Humans did. And now that we're gone, no one knows how to fix them. Sarah's voice remained steady. Zix, I want you to understand something. This conversation is being broadcast live to every human ship in our fleet. They're all listening to what you have to say. Zix felt a chill of fear. 50 million humans were hearing this conversation. The people his council had called worthless and expelled from their homes. Ambassador, I know we made mistakes. Mistakes? Sarah's voice became sharp for the first time. Zix, let me read you something. These are the exact words you spoke in the council chamber 3 weeks ago. Zix heard the sound of paper rustling. Humans are primitive, violent, and worthless. They cause nothing but problems. They are too emotional and too stubborn to follow proper galactic law. Each word hit Zix like a physical blow. He remembered saying them with such confidence and pride. You also said, Sarah continued, what can primitive humans possibly offer our advanced civilizations? Sarah, please, you laughed when I warned you. You all laughed. Do you remember what you said when I told you that you would regret your decision? Zix's voice was barely a whisper. I said that humans could never threaten advanced species like us. And now? Zix looked around the dark room at the dying leaders of 47 civilizations. Now we know the truth. We aren't advanced. We're helpless without you. Tell me more, Zix. What exactly have you learned? The council leader felt tears running down his face. We learned that you weren't our servants. You were our foundation. Everything we called primitive was actually essential. Everything we thought was simple was actually complex. Continue. We discovered that while we spent our time making laws and giving speeches, you were keeping our worlds alive. You grew our food, healed our sick, maintained our machines, and protected our people. You did the hard work that we were too proud to do ourselves. And when we offered to teach your people these skills, we refused. We said human knowledge was beneath our advanced minds. We were fools. There was silence on the communication channel. Zix could hear whispered conversations in the background, humans discussing what they had just heard. Zix, Sarah said finally, I want you to know that many humans wanted to help when we first heard about the crisis. Even after everything you did to us, their first instinct was to return and save lives. A spark of hope lit in Zix's chest. Then you'll come back? I didn't say that. The hope died. You see, Zix, there was a vote. Just like your council voted to expel us, humanity voted on whether to return and help you. What was the result? The motion to return and help was defeated by a margin of 47 million to 3 million. Zix felt the universe crashing down around him. But why? You said humans wanted to help? Because, Zix, we learned something too. We learned that kindness without respect is just slavery. For 50 years we helped you, served you, and protected you. And what did we get in return? You were insulted, ignored, and expelled, Zix admitted. Exactly. So humanity decided that we're done being the galaxy's servants. We're going to build our own civilization now. One where people value each other based on what they contribute, not what species they belong to. Sarah, please. There are 5,000 Vorthan refugees dying in space right now. They'll be dead in 2 hours. I know about them, Zix. We've been tracking their distress signal. Then save them. They're innocent. They never voted against humanity. No, Zix, you save them. You are the leaders of this galaxy. You have the most advanced technology and the greatest minds. Surely you can handle one simple rescue mission. We can't. Our ships don't work. Our doctors don't know how to treat them. We need your help. Then you should have thought about that before you threw us away. Zix broke down completely. Please, Sarah. I'm begging you. Not for us, for them. For the innocent beings who are dying. The silence stretched on forever. Finally, Sarah spoke. Zix, I'm going to tell you something, and I want you to listen carefully. Humanity is leaving this galaxy permanently. We're going to find empty space somewhere far away and build a new home. We're taking all our knowledge, all our skills, and all our kindness with us. Sarah, no. But before we go, I want to leave you with one final gift. I'm uploading basic emergency procedures to your communication system. Simple instructions for food production, medical treatment, and equipment repair. It's not much, but it might save some lives. Zix felt a small spark of hope. Thank you. Thank you so much. Don't thank me yet. These are just emergency measures. They won't rebuild your civilization. That's something you'll have to learn to do yourselves. But how? It will take us centuries to learn what humans knew. Then you'd better start now, and Zix, next time you meet a species that wants to help you, maybe try saying thank you instead of get out. The communication channel went silent. Zix stared at the device in his hands. Around him, the other council members sat in shocked silence. Outside the window, the stars looked different now. Somewhere among them, 50 million humans were flying away to build a new life without the ungrateful species they had once served. The galaxy would survive, barely. Some civilizations would rebuild. Others would fall forever. But they would all remember the lesson they learned too late, that the most important people are often the ones you notice least. And in the darkness of the dying space station, Council Leader Zix finally understood what Ambassador Sarah Chen had meant when she said they would learn the difference between having power and having worth. Power meant nothing when you had nobody left to use it for. The end.